So yeah, today we're gonna look at Intro to Nutrition. Week 3, what diet should I be on? Just a quick review. Um, the first week we looked at more of macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients just being your protein, your carbs, and your fats. Understanding that there is um, a number, roughly a range of calories that you want to be trying to eat a day in order to feel your best. So that way your body can do what it normally does well, but also can fuel your body for any of the exercise and your day to day, even just work, brain health throughout the day as well is very important. We also looked at how to plan your meals, what it looks like to really get started, what it looks like, how to meal plan, different ways people do that. But this week, like I said, we're going to go into some of the popular diets. Can you guys see the next slide? Is it changing for you? No, it still says intro. How about now? Perfect. All right. So what does it mean to diet? Like I mentioned, diet. Just think of the word diet as I think in the and early 2000s or like late 90s, the word diet popped up all over the place, and it was referring to, most people considered it like detoxes, crash diets. I don't know, there was a diet that all you drank for like a month was lemon juice, cayenne pepper, and maple syrup. And that's what people went on that diet. But when I say the word diet, I'm just referring to, again, just what you habitually eat day in and day out. That's kind of how you can think of it. A nutritional program might be a better word. But I'm just trying to um, maybe help retrain the way we look at the word diet. So the different kind of diets we're going to look at today. We're going to look at a ketogenic diet. It's very, very popular right now. Intermittent fasting is also very popular. And then a thing called flexible dieting. When it first started getting really popular, it's just called If It Fits Your Macros. It's just a macro diet, and we'll go into that more. Um, we probably won't have time to go into low carb dieting, but it's pretty self-explanatory, low carb. And then there's other popular diets, right? Atkins carb diet. There's the Mediterranean. Mediterranean is just a diet based off of the foods you would find in those areas: olive oils, fishes, cheeses, things like that. There's carnivore diet, which is popping up, which is you only eat meat. Sounds pretty good for a while, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then one meal a day, or OMAD, is what it's called, and that's where you only eat, you fast for the whole day, and you only eat one meal a day. Vegan, I'm sure we're aware of, and um, vegetarian. Vegetarians usually, I think they allow eggs and things like that. Vegan is completely no animal products. We're not going to go into those, but those are just some of the popular diets we see today. And I only naming them because there seems to be a name for no matter how you eat, there's a name for it. I was actually recently at a grocery store, and I was only buying plant stuff. She asked if I was vegan, and I said no, I just eat meat a few times throughout here and there. And then she named it something, and I was like, oh, I didn't know there was a name for that kind of diet. So there's a name for everything. Um, so jumping right in, the ketogenic diet. And maybe you've heard of this diet. What this diet basically is a very high fat diet. It's a very high fat, it's moderate protein, and it's very, very low carb. And so the theory behind this kind of diet, and here we see it's about 5% carbohydrates, proteins about 25%, and the rest are fats. And this diet's very interesting because just it's best for weight loss. And you'd think, how is eating lots of fat gonna help me lose lots of fats? Um, so what this diet does is sort of like we looked at in week 1 of our macronutrients. Uh, what does your body use the food for? It uses for energy. What is your body really good at using for energy is carbohydrates. Now, carbohydrates do this interesting thing, is that when you eat carbohydrates, no matter what kind of carbohydrates you eat, your body will break it down into sugars. And in order for your body to take the sugar out of the bloodstream, it'll spike a hormone called insulin. And when your body is in this has its elevated insulin, um, diabetics, if you're familiar with diabetics, or if that's something you suffer from, um, it's where your body is doesn't have a sensitivity to insulin. So the insulin is not doing its job properly, or sometimes it's not even producing it. So a diabetic has to now artificially take insulin in order to get the blood out, or the sugar out of the blood. And so when insulin is spiked, your body goes into a storage mode. It's very, very difficult to try and burn fat when your insulin is spiked. So without this insulin response, without the energy, glycogen is what it's called, without the energy from carbohydrates, um, your body will start to become, it's called fat adapted. And so your body will begin using fats for its energy. And so that's kind of the basic of this diet, is you're retraining your body to use fat for fuel. And so when you do that, your body then can use its body fat for fuel really quickly. And this diet, it's usually, when I've seen the best results, is people who are having a trouble losing a lot of weight. I had a friend who, for 5, 10 years, I've tried putting him on several diets. He's very overweight, and he could never stick to anything. I finally we tried this, and I think he's lost 130 pounds, 150 pounds on this diet. One of the big things is, since there are no carbohydrates, or very, very little coming from fruits and vegetables, small amounts of fruits and vegetables, um, you you're not indulging in those ice creams and cakes and donuts. That's one of the key benefits I find from these highly restrictive diets. To highly restrict one thing or a certain thing, is that if you're prone to cheating or prone to lack of discipline, it can help in that area. So this is generally what they say is sort of your benefits. Um, it is usually weight loss, but again, if you're fit, you may not, or average or right around there, you may not see a big drop in weight. What you'll see is a drop in water weight almost immediately. Carbohydrates tend to hold water in your muscles, and without the carbohydrates, you're not holding the water. So you're going to lose 5 up to even 10 pounds of water weight almost immediately. And so a lot of people, it pumps them up because oh, I lost all this weight. It's working, but it's almost always going to be water weight in the beginning. Um, what's really good is for endurance-based athletes, or endurance-based just lifestyle. You're not gonna if you're a power lifter, if you're looking for quick bursts of energy, um, this isn't gonna do it. Uh, this is The fats are a lot harder to access for energy. So using your body can't use a big burst of energy as well with the fats. So this is really, really good for endurance-based athletes. Um, but it will help with kind of resetting almost your insulin sensitivity as well. Now, there are the thing with the ketogenic diets, it's very new. Um, so there's not a lot of long-term research going on with it. And so there is potential risks, as with anything. And so it could affect your blood lipids, which is just like um, you're looking at your cholesterols, you're looking, it could affect those things since you are eating a high amount of fats, a lot of them coming from animal fats. And what it can do is cause nutritional imbalances since you aren't eating the fruits and vegetables as much. It will also, since you're not holding the water, you look at a lot of potential mineral imbalances. So a lot of them drink sodium, eat a lot more sodium, salt water, magnesium, or potassium. Have to supplement with those things in order to do that. It can also cause sort of a binge eating when getting off it because you go a week, 2 weeks with no carbs, and you tell yourself, "Oh, I'm gonna have carbs tomorrow." You're gonna eat is every carb in sight. So it can cause sort of a binge eating response. It can also, I've seen, cause a fear of carbohydrates, where you think, oh, if I eat, this grain of rice, I'm going to gain 10 pounds. And so, which kind of sucks. I don't like anything that really creates more of an eating disorder in some way. I don't, causing an evil food per se. So that's just kind of a basics over the ketogenic diet. Uh, and the next one we're going to look at is called intermittent fasting. This one isn't a particular diet in the sense of the food that you're eating. How intermittent fasting works is generally the most popular way is you do 16 hours of complete fasted state. And now this is where most people tend to, um, I guess, not fully optimize this diet. Is in order to be truly fasted during this state, you really cannot have a calorie. And even some supplements can even cause your body to turn to a fed state. So if you were to consume, say, um, a snack or put creamer in your coffee that has 10 calories in it, immediately your body's going to think I'm being fed. And so you're no longer going to be in a fasted state. And so all the studies that have shown the health benefits of fasting during this time have shown with the 16 hours of complete no calories. Usually it consists of water, black coffee, and usually like sparkling water is usually what I've used in the past. Kind of helps curb the hunger. And then you eat for 8 hours. You eat for 8 hours. So this can be very beneficial for specific lifestyles. Um, it can you can help fat loss. Uh, one of the biggest reasons it can help fat loss is it's very difficult to eat a lot of food in 8 hours. Even for myself, I tend to eat a lot. I When I break my fast and I eat, I'm usually only hungry enough for one more meal. And so it's very difficult to eat a lot. And again, it's one of those more strict diets that if you're gonna do, you can't eat during that 16 hours. So it'll help you if you're very undisciplined, I like to say, like myself. If I have a very loose diet and I'm allowed to eat anything and do anything, I will. And so this allows me to, if I want the benefits, that means I can't eat, and so I'll stick to it. It can improve cognitive function. You usually, if you're not used to it, getting on a diet like this where you're not eating for extended amount of time can be very difficult. It can cause brain fog maybe at the beginning, especially if you're used to eating consistently throughout the day. Um, a lot of people think they intermittent fast as well, without intending to. They go, "Oh, I don't eat breakfast. I never eat breakfast. I always intermittent fast." And usually, when you look at their lifestyle, they usually snack. They usually snack all throughout the day, or they eat sugary drinks or drinks with some calories in it. And so, if that's the case, then it's not a fast. So in order to really be on an intermittent fasting diet, um, there has to be that usually 16 hours. Some people do it for 12 hours, but again, the benefits are usually shown after the 16 hours. The lifestyle for someone like this also, someone who doesn't like to eat breakfast, who doesn't like to eat till later in the day, can be very beneficial. Um, you can get the added benefits. And the way you can kind of look at the intermittent fasting diet of why a fasted state can be good is whenever you're consuming calories, your body's flushing blood into your digestive tract, your body's producing hormones, your body's going into a fed state. But now when you shut that off, when your body comes out of the fed state, it can now go into repair mode. It can go into other things. It can start cleaning up. A good way to look at it is even as if you have an office building. If you're open 24 hours and it's always working, then the cleanup crew, they can't come in and clean. So it's like shutting down for the night, and the cleanup crew can come in and clean everything up. It's sort of like that that when it comes to the intermittent fasting diet. Um, there are other ways to do it. There are other ways to some people do 2 24-hour fasts in a week. There's a bunch of different ways. I've tried a 3-day fast, and that's about as far as I'll go. Once you break the 24 hours, it's actually really easy though. You actually aren't hungry, but I wouldn't recommend doing anything like that. So yeah, it's usually done for 16 hours. But some of the downfalls or some of the um, problems with the intermittent fasting that you can run into is, like I mentioned, it can be very difficult to eat the amount of food within the 8 hours, especially if you're a small eater to begin with. You're going to eat your first meal and you're probably going to be full for a long time. Food cravings, you're going to probably, especially the first time you're starting out, you're going to be thinking about food a lot more when you're, you know, especially when if you think you've fasted for 16 hours, try it, and you're going to be thinking for a lot about food a lot more. If you like coffee creamer, if you don't like black coffee, this diet may not be for you. This one's a really rough one without black coffee. um, I like it because I love black coffee, and you can load up on it. I love sparkling water, so sparkling water, the bubbles, the carbonation kind of helps the hunger. Um, the other thing too is if you're very, very hungry coming out of your fast, uh, you may eat very poor choices. Most people will break their fast with a very carbohydrate heavy diet or heavy meal. They think, oh man, I fasted this whole time. Like I'm gonna eat a bunch of pasta or you know, uh, so they'll tend to make poor food choices, breaking the fast. That's another thing that can be an issue as well. Now, my favorite, flexible dieting. And based off the picture, it's probably you guys' favorite too. Skinny. Yes, you do see donuts on this one. This one's very, very popular, especially among the fitness world. Um, and flexible dieting is another way it was described as if it fits your macros. So if you recall in week 1, we looked at how many calories should I be eating a day, right? If I'm a 200-pound male and I need to eat 2,600 calories a day. Essentially, that 2,600 calories is broken up. You've broken it up. 55% is protein, you know, 30% is carbs, and the rest is fats. So I need that many calories from each food group. If it fits your macros is basically however you can get those protein, carbs, and fats, it works. You've hit your calories. If it's to lose weight, you're still under on your calories, so you'll still lose weight. If it's to gain weight, gain muscle, if you hit those calories, you hit your protein, carbs, and fats, you'll gain muscle. Um, that's essentially in simple the flexible dieting system. It allows you to eat, let's say maybe junk food, fun food, however you want to describe it, sweets. Now, this can be over abused because the flexible dieting system is usually described as an 80-20 rule. About 80% healthy, good food, clean food, and then about 20% of your food choices can come from you know, the the more fun stuff. Um, and so this is an example. So these are, say, 2 days worth of foods, both same amount of calories. So if you need 2,000 calories a day and you're getting 1,700 because you're trying to lose weight, essentially you can lose weight on both of these days. So even though you may be eating some, quote unquote unhealthy foods, you're still able to see your desired result. And so something like this can really come to based off your goal. If your goal is to cut out sweets or to just eat healthier, then obviously you don't want to just only focus on the calories and drink 5 sodas just because it fits your calories. But if it's something where you are, I think very social. I know with COVID right now, it's very, very difficult to go out and get foods and hang out with people. But something like this versus say the ketogenic diet. You go to Olive Garden on a diet, you're gonna have a rough time, and so it can be it can in a sense affect your social life and affect those fun things. But something like this allows you that freedom. It allows you that freedom to enjoy a meal, enjoy and you can still stay on whatever the diet, whatever your meal plan was. You can still fit those in. If you ate 1,200 calorie burger, that's fine. You still have 500 calories left. And so that's something with the flexible dieting system that is a big benefit. And so, like I mentioned, it's essentially the 80-20 rule. You eat 80% good, clean, healthy foods, and then you have your 20%. Um, and that's just a general rule. There's no necessarily like, oh, this is the benefit of that, or this is the health benefit of this or that. It's just a general rule so that you're not binge eating or you're not only just eating Pop Tarts and chocolate milk for all of your calories. And so is something, like I mentioned, that it can be easily adjusted. You can easily adjust your macros. That's all you got to adjust, and then you keep all your food choices. It doesn't restrict any food type. That's why I really like this. It doesn't make any food type evil. It doesn't make carbohydrates evil. It doesn't make fat evil. It just and you're able to. It won't really feel like a diet. You know, you want to have a Reese's, have a Reese's, just make sure it fits in your calories for the day. And so you're not gonna, necessarily feel like you're on this big restrictive diet. You're not gonna be thinking about um, every single little detail about food all throughout the day on say something like a ketogenic diet, where everything you eat, you're gonna have to know what's in it. You're gonna have to be looking at what's in it, which is a good habit. It's good to know what you're eating, but you're not going to have to think about every detail, every aspect of it. Um, this can be difficult for those who are undisciplined, especially if you don't know what your calories or macros are that you're trying to hit. If you don't know, then you're probably just going to be eating junk food whenever you feel like it. And this is something that, like I mentioned, you can overeat on the fun food. You get the box of donuts and just say, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to eat my whole calories right now in donuts. So you can kind of, if you're undisciplined, this may be a little difficult, since there are very loose guidelines, very loose structure to it. So, how can I get started? I first want to say I'm not a physician. None of this was a recommendation for you to get on. This was purely informational for you to kind of get familiar with the big popular diets out there. And maybe we're thinking about switching it up. And here's the thing: is maybe you just want to live a healthier lifestyle. And so that's understanding. Why is the ketogenic the healthiest way to go? I don't think any of the extreme diets, in my opinion, are the healthiest way to go. There are um, science out there for everything. The benefits of the ketogenic, the benefits of going vegan, and then there's also the side effects from both too. I think in my opinion, balance is always best. Do your research. Don't believe everything you just hear online, and that includes me. Fact check me, research. Make sure you know whatever you're getting on, you know what you're getting on, and you know the health risks as also the health benefits, and find someone to do it with you. Accountability is best, especially if it's a big change. If big changes can be very difficult, so if you're doing it with someone, to make it fun, and then know what your goal is. This is probably the most important. If your goal is to, squat another 100 pounds, and you get on the ketogenic diet, well, you're probably going to drop 100 pounds. So know why you're doing it. Maybe it's just overall, I just want to be healthier. And in that case, you might have to define for yourself what it really means to be healthier. I think, to really be healthier, does that mean you only eat carrot sticks and spinach? Because I think your mental health will struggle a lot then too. So define for yourself your goal is. If it's to build muscle, know that and use the information and in this video and the other videos as well on how to gain weight, right? Eat more calories, find your calories, and know how to get there. Avoid starting too extreme. Like I mentioned in week one, know where you're at. Know where you're at. Know, your weaknesses too. Know your weaknesses too. If your favorite thing in the world is Reese's peanut butter cup, after dinner, then know that and don't get on a diet that says no Reese's, because it's just going to be torture for you. And then again, uh, don't do it without a goal. Don't do it without a goal. Um, as we see, as we see here, big goals get big results, but no goals get no results, or they get results for somebody else. So just remember that whatever your goals are in the health aspect, in the health world, in the health realm, know what it is, write it down, and so that way it can be a successful time for you. So, all right, everyone, that about sums it up for week 3. How to start your diet, and so is the diet for you? I hope this helped everyone, and I'll see each other next week for our final week, week 4 in the Intro to Nutrition series. That one's going to be a fun one. We're going to look at some of the myths behind nutrition. There's a lot, and we'll look at some of the main ones that I guarantee some of us believe and some of us follow. But and we're going to look at supplementation. If you've had questions ever about, should I take supplements? What's the deal with supplements? We're going to look at that. We're going to also look at a little bit on detoxes. It's not as popular now, but some people usually a lot of times starting a new diet program think they need to get on a detox. We'll just cover a little bit about that. So, all right, everyone. I'll see you next week.